Making it relatable. Let's do it. Let's make it relatable. And today, I don't know if it's going to be as long of an episode. Uh, there's a few things that I'm going to talk about. I want to start off, of course, with the fact that I still no views. How is this even possible? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand YouTube at all. I will never claim to understand YouTube. And as I mentioned in my previous videos, I'm not going to bother trying to figure out YouTube. I'm just not going to bother. I'm not going to bother trying to figure out, like, why am I not getting that many views on my videos? Like, I don't really care that much. I'm just here, just putting up content and hoping for the best and just see whatever it is. And this is really just a way for me to kill some time. That's all I'm going to do really with this challenge. Just kill some time and see what happens. See what happens. So if I do get a view out of this, awesome. If I don't, all is good. Whatever. And this might be my last video ever, just like every other time I've said that. I'm not going to make any promises. I refuse to make promises to myself about whether or not I'm going to be putting up content, because I do that. I do that. I make promises to myself. And whenever I make promises to myself, I don't follow through. And I'm a pretty unmotivated guy. And I'm a guy who just likes to take the easy way out and doesn't want to figure things out and doesn't want to try and, you know, sort out how to become successful at something. I'm just going to do what I do. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. Whatever, you know? So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens today. I wanted to talk about what's going on with these truckers. Since I'm Canadian, hello, fellow Canadians. If anybody views this, nobody's gonna view this video. I already know because I've looked at all my previous videos. I mean, nobody's viewed any video I've put up so far, and I think this is like going to be the 10th one. It's fine. It's all good. So I'm gonna expect. History repeats itself. History is a way of repeating itself. So I'm gonna expect that I'm gonna still get absolutely zero views, and that's fine. Whatever. But I wanted to talk about these truckers, and since I'm Canadian, I thought, I might be able to offer a interesting perspective, because this whole situation definitely hits a lot closer to home when you're Canadian, and you're going to take it in a totally different light than if you are somebody from another part of the world that's viewing it from the outside. So, has any of this really affected my life personally? No, not at all. I'm still doing exactly the same thing that I've always done, spending time at home and teaching, working whenever I can, watching some YouTube, playing some video games, and just doing whatever I do. So for me, I don't really notice anything different at all. However, when I see stuff happening on the news, and when I see the YouTube creators that I follow talking about certain things, then it definitely raises an eyebrow, and it makes me think about things a lot more than I normally would. Because I'm not really into politics. I really am not into politics at all. I don't really want to think about politics. I don't even vote. Like, I just stay away from politics completely because I think it's just all way too messy. Uh, Now, what's going on? As far as I can tell, I mean, this whole thing with the truckers is one of the nicest protests I've ever seen. And I think that if you know what's going on, it's the nicest protest that I think anybody's ever seen. I mean, they're partying, they're having a great time, it looks like, um, having good food, they're with good friends, they're meeting great people. There's like a concert, there's concerts going on. It looks like just a nonstop party. Looks like a nonstop good time. Now, am I going to go and party with them? No, not really. I don't really care to. I'm perfectly content just being at home and being left alone and being away from everybody and being completely on my own. It's been great. It's been great. It's peaceful, it's calm, it's chill, and I have no interest in going and being part of that whole party scene. Now, do I think it's a good thing that they're doing that? Yeah, I think it's a good thing to protest. Absolutely. You know, you just have to look at the state of the people in a country and the manner in which they conduct themselves. And you get a really good sense as to the health of a country. And it's clear that this country is not very healthy, psychologically, emotionally, physically, monetarily, economically. This country is not really that healthy. If it was, there'd be no reason to protest. And you can also get a sense as to how great the leadership is in a country by the nature in which the people conduct themselves. If the people conduct themselves, I'm talking about on a macro level. So not talking about like, day-to-day little things here and there. I'm talking about like on a macro level. When you see people at this scale protesting, and not just the people, but even the people that are there to provide safety and security to the people, like the police, being part of the protest and not shutting it down, like just, yeah, they're like, cool, go ahead, protest. We're gonna help you move stuff, and we're gonna, we're gonna have a grab. We're gonna grab by T2, and we're gonna contribute. When that happens, you have to ask yourself a few questions, like what's going on with the leadership? What's really going on with the leadership? And we've known for a long time that the leadership in this country needs to change. It's pretty obvious. Pretty obvious. I think anybody would agree with that. The leadership needs to change. I would imagine that even the leaders themselves must realize that the leadership needs to change. When you start calling people that are protesting in a perfectly reasonable way, I mean, there's no violence. They're not, they're just protesting. Yeah, they're they're being disruptive, sure, but it looks like for the most part, for the majority of people, they don't really care. They're taking part in it. And since we live in a democratic society, the majority rules. What the majority wants is what should be happening in the country. And it's clear that the majority is okay with this protest. Now, is it being disruptive to, our supply chains, and is it making things more challenging in terms of like things economically and people being able to work and all these sorts of things? Absolutely. But that's been going on for a few weeks. How long has the government been doing that for? How long has the government been causing havoc, been making life difficult, more difficult than it needs to be? For way longer. And now all of a sudden, when the people are doing that, it's going to be a problem. That doesn't make any sense. You have to ask yourself these questions. Like, it's just not adding up. So now, also, when you're calling people that are creating a protest that is not violent, that is friendly, that is inclusive, that looks like a great time, and you're calling them terrorists, that doesn't make any sense to me. That just doesn't add up at all. Doesn't add up. If it's because they're being disruptive to the economy, and because they're being disruptive to people being able to work and get to their jobs and things like that, well, then if that's what you're equating with terrorism, then you have to ask yourself, well, since the government has been doing that for way longer than the people, and you're calling the people terrorists because of that, then, well, I think you can finish the thought. It all seems pretty confusing. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It just seems confusing, and it just seems like it's nonsense. And it's clear that things need to change. And again, these are just my thoughts. These are my opinions. I'm just a dude in Canada, and that's all I am. And that's all I really want to be. I don't want to have any voice or anything like that. Not interested. And if I was given some sort of voice, I wouldn't want it. I would be like, no, take it away from me. Not interested in any of that. Just expressing my thoughts. And that's all I'm doing. You may agree with me, disagree with me. This is just thoughts that are out there in the ether of thoughts that can be debated. And you can disagree with me, you can agree with me. But the point is not to create any sort of hostility between any people by having thoughts. It's just thoughts Thoughts are just thoughts, and that's it. Okay. We don't need to necessarily act on thoughts. We can just have thoughts and just put them out there in the open, and, and create a healthy communicative environment based upon thoughts. That's all I'm looking to do here. So, yeah, I mean, things are going to have to be different. And I believe that if the government was just to say, and maybe I'm wrong, I could be wrong saying this, but I think that if the government was just say, hey, listen, you know what? We've heard you. We know we live in a democratic society. The majority has spoken. We've heard you. We see you. And you know what? We know that ultimately this is a country of the people, not of the government. And since this is a country of the people and the majority of the people have spoken, we know that we need to take measures to open things back up, to get things underway. And it's not for us to agree or disagree with you. That's not, see, that shouldn't be the job of government. Shouldn't be. The job of government shouldn't be to agree or disagree or anything like that. You see that the people want something, the majority of people want something, you just do it. Essentially, you as the government, everybody in power, you're getting paid by the people. So in essence, the people are your boss, and you should be listening to the people, whether you agree or disagree. It's not up to you to disagree or agree. It's up to you to know what the majority wants, and then just to do it and follow through and make things work in a way that's going to be reasonable and safe as best as you can, That's why governments have been put in place. Governments are put in place by people. Governments are not the ones that should be in charge. It should be the people in charge. Because you can take all the people out of a country, there's no government. But you can take the government out of a country, and, well, sure, there might be, things may be chaotic, and fair enough, and all messed up, fair enough, because there won't be any like overruling authority, fair enough, but the country can still exist. So the government needs people. People don't need government the way the government needs people. So I think that things need to just be changed, and the government needs to step up and just let the people know that they're going to make changes that they know will keep people happy, and they're going to make a change. I know that the truckers want to change immediately. That's what they're looking for, a change immediately. So make a change, something small, something tangible that can be felt, can be noticed, can be reasonable and obvious, and then just make the change, and then let the truckers know you're making the change. And then the truckers can just, you can just say, listen, since we're making this change, we're going to make more changes. Please, let's de-escalate this protest. Let's move on. And this first change is going to be implemented, and then there's going to be discussions over the coming weeks as to more changes that we are sure you will be happy with. So let's de-escalate the protest, and then we can all just move on past it. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen, and it's just a bunch of craziness. It really doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense at all. So, Government of Canada, Trudeau, you got to just change things up. You got to change things up. Look at the state of the country. Look at the state of the country. Nobody likes their hand being forced. Nobody does. Nobody likes their hand being forced. So rather than trying to force the people to act in a certain way, you may not agree with the way that people are acting. You may not want it. Fair enough. But you've got to listen, and you've got to do as the people are asking you to do, whether you agree or disagree, and just make things happen in a manner that'll be conducive to safety and security. But at the end of the day, listening to the people. The people are number one. What the people want is number one, not what you as the government wants. And those are just my thoughts. That's just what I think. So now that I got all that out of the way, let's talk about something more just random things again that's going on in my life, because essentially that's what this channel is all about. This channel is just about the stuff that's going on in my life. So Is this whole truckers thing something that's going on in my life? Not really, but I just thought it would be interesting to talk about. So something that's going on in my life. I've talked about this one girl that I've been talking to. I think it's been like about a month now. Like every day we've been talking, and I'm just not into her. I'm just not into her in that way. Like she's cool to talk to. She's super nice, super sweet, but I just don't feel that thing that you need to feel, that you need to have with somebody in order to pursue something more intimately. Just don't have it. And I'm also just not in this state of mind where where I think I could have it with anybody, where I'd even want to have it with anybody. So she wants to go out tomorrow for lunch, and this will be the second time that we've hung out in person. Part of me wants to say no, but also part of me is like, well, it'd be nice to go out because I don't really go out and do anything anymore nowadays, and she's enjoyable to talk to and it's cool company. But I think I'm gonna have to tell her tomorrow, like, just so you know, just so we're on the same page, like, I've been putting a lot of thought into this and for the last little while, and I've been really not sure if I wanted to say something about it. And so I wanted to be sure that if I did say something about it, that I was 100% sure that I wanted to say it. And then I just tell her that, I'm just so you know, like, I'm totally not ready to have anything intimate with anybody. I really enjoy talking to you. I enjoy, saying the messages that we do back and forth. I'm happy we're here together. Uh, but I just, like, I can't do anything beyond that, um, with anybody. With anybody, I'm just not interested at all, and I think I'm just gonna tell her that, just because I want her to be on the same page. Because I have this notion, I believe that she is thinking that things are developing with us in a way that's more intimate, and I don't want her to think that because I don't think it's fair to her. I don't think it's fair to her to think something that just isn't happening, right? And it's easy to delude ourselves. I know it's very easy. It's no fault of her own. She's, I think, a little bit deluding herself into thinking there's something there that isn't. So, to be fair to her, I hate doing this because it almost seems like I'm kind of giving her a dose of reality, and I don't want to be that person to give anybody a dose of reality. But I think in this circumstance, I kind of have to. So I have to be diplomatic. I have to be decent and kind and sensitive with my words and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do that, and I hope she doesn't take it badly. I don't think she will. She's a pretty nice person, so I think she'll be understanding. And I'll let her know, like, hey, I'm cool to hang out. I'm cool to talk. But to me, this is just like friendly interactions. I'm not anything more than that. I can't do with anybody at this point, and I just don't want any of that at this point. And I only see you as somebody who I can have friendly interactions with. I can't see you. I don't see our interactions any other way, and I don't see our interactions becoming anything different in the future. Um, and that's it. And yeah, hopefully she takes it well. I really hope so, because I don't want to be hurtful, but I want to make sure it's really clear. I don't want to leave any room for, like, well, maybe in the future, like, something might change, or maybe I can change his mind, or, some people, they think these things, and I don't want her to think that way. I want her to just, be her. And I also don't want to hold her back from potentially meeting somebody else, because that wouldn't be fair either. And because it sounds like she has got a lot to offer, but I just, yeah, just not really, just not interested, just not interested. Um, and I think fair enough, and that's okay. I don't. Who says I have to be interested, right? So that's what's going on with that. I'm gonna meet with her tomorrow at like 2 o'clock. I gotta go grocery shopping. I gotta get some blood work done because of the whole sleep thing. But mind you, I'm still sleeping better. Still not 100%, but definitely better. I've been wearing my glasses again, the blue light reflecting glasses late at night, and they've been helping so much. So I'm going to continue wearing those. Been wearing my eye mask, and then also dressing a little bit warmer. So all that's been helping. I don't know if it's just coincidence or what, but it's been working. So I'm just going to continue doing that. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, you might have noticed, not wearing a hat. not wearing a hat, shaved my head, because tomorrow I have a podcast I'm going to be doing at 8 o'clock at night. Just for those of you that don't know, I have a podcast on Spotify. It's called The Parent Toolbox. You can look it up. I also applied to this other company who's looking for a podcast host, and it looked pretty promising. And they said that I would hear back in like 24 to 48 hours. It's been more than that. So I'm guessing I didn't get it, which sucks because I really believe that this was like the perfect job for me. And I have the credentials for it. So, and it was a 30, like it was more than 30 days old, the ad, and they replied to me immediately. So it seemed like they were really interested, but I don't know. Maybe they are, and they're just slow to return um, messages, but I don't think so, because it was like the next day that they wanted me to go to the next step. So I would think that if they were interested, I would have heard back by now. What are you going to do? It is what it is, you know? Um, so maybe I'll hear back anyways. Maybe not. But in any case, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And I've been really considering that when my parents get back to town, I'm gonna, as long as the restrictions are off, and I don't got to do that stupid PCR test and all that stuff. That's what it's called, right? A PCR test. As long as I don't have to do that, then I think I'll go visit my buddy in New York, and then I'll go visit my uncle and aunt and cousin in Florida after that, and I'll spend some time with them for a little while. I don't know how long, but maybe a little while. Could be months, and just get out of this city and maybe get in a different frame of mind, and also, give my parents some space. They've had a lot of space. They've had 6 months on their own in Florida, but it'd be nice for them. I'm sure they're enjoying their space, and yeah, I want to do that for them. So yeah, I'm seriously considering doing that. I'll keep you posted with whether or not I do that. I think I'm also going to stream a bunch more. I was streaming a bunch earlier on Meet Me. I think I'm going to stream a bunch more after I'm done this. Maybe play a little bit of video games. I got to do some laundry, and otherwise just going to chill out. And that's it. That's really it. This is a much shorter vlog today. Let's see. Maybe I get a view. Let's see if I get a view. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Lastly, I did meet my push-up challenge. I was able to do over 120 push-ups today in one day, which I'm proud of myself for doing that. I'm definitely proud of myself for doing that. My goal was 123 push-ups in a day, and I definitely did more. I didn't count. I think I did like 130 around there. So that's great. And what else? That's it. I think that's it. That's everything. So bye for now.